Allah Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Ruach Kodash. Double honors to my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect, who are the house of David, reborn again in this generation. And shalom to the 130 Yasharala, who today are known as the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Indians, who before losing their true heritage were known as, and still are, the true Hebrew Israelites of the Holy Bible. In today's lesson, we're going to talk about the failed leadership of America, known as Babylon the Great in the Bible. Okay, we're going to talk about this particular president right here, Joe Biden, right, or as he's been termed, Sleepy Biden or Sleepy Joe, because you see, today, right, it's past midnight now, but today on the 25th is going to be the first official news conference this man's going to have. Now, we're going to watch this video just to bring you, Akim and Akwathium out there, up to date on just some of the more highlighted issues this man has had with the press, right? Because it's very obvious that the administration is trying to hide this man's mental incapacity, right? This guy, he's too old. He basically has pudding for brains, and it shows, right? They've even done green screen hacks where, you know, he's pretending to talk to press, and you're going to see that in this video. But I want to show you how this is what the Lord is doing to America to bring them down, right? He is smiting the head of this nation to bring it down, to make it appear weak, and that way to give the Babylonian enemies out there, namely the Russians, who the Bible refers to as the Medes, in some cases, to come up against America, right? And we're also going to look into that. But before we get into this video, let's go ahead and just read this scripture real quick. This is Isaiah 14 and 4. Thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon, and say, how hath the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. Right? And that's exactly what's happening. You see, this is directly to Joe Biden, right? He might see this, maybe he won't, but this is directed to him, man. Your kingdom, Babylon, is falling, okay? And you have been stricken with madness, right? The Lord has destroyed your mental capacity, right? And you can no longer lead the city effectively, man. And the people who are underneath you are starting to notice it, right? And this is back to you, Akim, right? Notice now that this puppet that has been put into power, right, Biden, right, they're simply using him as a figurehead, right? You recently had those, that shooting in Colorado, right? And that's only a small example of what's going on. Because you see, for the past few months, there's been an orchestrated attempt to take away assault weapons, right? Now, this right here is the lifeblood of the American Edomite, right? They see their ability to own weapons, firearms, as their quintessential right? And also, that is in general is these Caucasians' birthright or blessing, right? That they were given, or at least their forefather was given, which has passed down to them. This is why, out of all the 18 nations of the world, the Caucasian race, known as the Edomites of the Bible, they, prevail and far exceed any other nation when it comes to weaponry. They are the best shooters. For the most part, they tend to own the most guns. They are to guns as the Israelites are to sports, music, and dancing. Okay, this is just their blessing. Now you have these devils at the very top, right? The world elites who are now coming for America, and to do that, they have to first take away the guns of the population, right? This has been standard, modus operandi for national takeover. Look at what happened in Australia when they took away the guns, then the government came down and basically started taking away the rights, right? This happened in every other, socialist country when it started to make its shift over to a socialist communist, way of living, where they would take away the guns and they would basically get rid of the problem people. And that's exactly what they're trying to do here in America, right? So not only do you have this incapacitated imbecile at top, trying to appear, being made to appear competent, right? But they are now also trying to have him push for the narrative to ban assault weapons, right? Which is more than likely going to fail, because the Edomites of America are going to stand up to this more than likely. And this is what is going to fulfill that prophecy in 2nd Ezra that talks about that in the end times there shall be sedition amongst men, and that they shall not regard their kings nor princes. Okay, so let's continue on this. It says, Yahweh Bashim Ashai hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. And that's exactly what's happened. You see, the Lord has basically, destroyed is destroying the power structures that these elites use to rule the world, right? See, people are no longer, unaware of what's really going on in the world, right? There's still a lot of people who are out there who are still blinded by all the propaganda and whatnot, but for the most part, the so-called Illuminati no longer are hidden. Everybody knows that these bankers and trust fund, hedge managers and all these 1%, who they actually are. The truth that they are the biblical Edomites has been put out there, right? And for the 1/3 of Israel plus the awoken world community, we understand that these devils are in power not by their skill, but by the hand of God, right? And we also understand that their power is being taken away from them. Continuing, he who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger, is persecuted, and none hindereth. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Now this ultimately will come when the Lord destroys the nation of Edom, right after his second coming. But this is also starting now, right? The Edomite nation, namely the ruling class of the world, the Caucasian race, is being persecuted right now, man. Right? They are, being chastised on every side, and nobody basically is sticking up for the white race, right? Their past glories are seen as despicable acts, right? And pretty much they're catching hell right now, right? And that's because the Lord is bringing this nation down, right? You are witnessing the end of the Edomite empires in front of your face. But let's get back to this video, and let's just see just some of the the gaffes of Sleepy Joe.
Question, which is not even a critical question.
Not at the moment.
It's just a yes or no question that anyone could answer. Images like that do not build confidence. And this particular clip has been going viral all over the internet last week, because many people wonder why you would place microphones behind the hand and the elbow of the president. It seems so odd. Is this really the best place for a microphone to make sure that everybody can hear what the president wants to say? And then there are these recent public appearances of the president in which he seems to improvise, and then he starts to forget crucial things like the name of his Secretary of Defense and even the name of the department itself. In this clip, the president is referring to that man. I keep calling him the general, the guy who runs that outfit over there. Watch this.
Just want to thank you both, and I want to thank the former general. I keep calling him general, but the guy who runs that outfit over there.
There are so many clips to be found on the internet that show that as soon as the president does not have his speech printed on the screen, he forgets crucial stuff, like that time when he mistook President Trump for President Bush.
4 more years of Georgia, he's going to find ourselves in a position where if Trump gets elected, we're going to be in a different world.
And that time when he forgot when 9/11 took place.
You have entire generation of young people beginning back in 2000 when the attack occurred on 9/11.
That time when he could not come up with the name of the Declaration of Independence.
We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing.
There are so many of these instances documented on the internet. I think that is worrying, and it doesn't build confidence towards March 25th. Then there are instances like these, when the president is visiting small businesses, like in this case in Pennsylvania, and he is having a conversation with 2 wonderful people over there. It happened just last week, and for some reason, the White House again thought it would be a good idea not to place a microphone near the president. The very predictable result is that the public can hardly hear what the president has to say. And then this session very abruptly ends in a very weird way. The president is still talking, and remember, this is a televised public appearance of the most powerful man in the world. And then all of a sudden, some lady starts to yell, and the camera is dropped on the floor while the president is still talking. Imagine if you would that to Vladimir Putin. He would be like, "Do not challenge the bear if you cannot afford to lose the honey." I know that's a very bad Russian accent impression. Never mind all of that. And then there is this very clear example of a very strange public appearance of the American president. This was in a very recent speech, which seemed to be totally scripted. But even so, the president said something very strange. He called Kamala Harris President Harris. Watch this.
Now, when President Harris and I took a virtual tour of a vaccination center in Arizona.
And then there is this very recent case in which the president attended an online conference. And at the end, he clearly stated that he wanted to take questions. But then the entire video feed was cut off immediately.
And I'm happy to take questions if that's what I'm supposed to do, Nance, whatever you want me to do.
So, all of that, and this is just a few examples of worrying public appearances of the American president, all of that indeed makes me bite my fingernails for the entire week until March 25th.
I'm going to stop it there, Akim. But, you see, this ultimately is going to lead to the downfall, or at least the appearance and the downfall of America, right? Babylon the Great. And why is this? Why is all this happening? Why was Joe Biden, who is obviously mentally incapacitated and was so before the election actually happened, right? Why has there been such controversy in the election, right? Why is there so much evidence that there was a shady election that took place, even though we understand, the people in the know understand that these people are not elected, but they are selected, right? Well, it's because of this, right? This is Job 14:5. Seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. Right? And this is talking about the Edomite nation, the Edomite race, and this goes for all Caucasians, right? This goes for that man who's making commentary, right? Even though he thinks he's, taking jabs at President Biden, he in fact is actually speaking against his own nation, because believe it or not, he appears to be a Caucasian, and that is his own race he's actually going against. Vladimir Putin, another Edomite, right? His mom in fact is a so-called Jew, right? Ashkenazi Jew and stuff, right? So he is an Edomite too, though he's coming up against America. You see, the Lord is now having the house of Satan fight within itself, right? They're now divided and basically eating themselves up, man. And this is why, because they have an appointed, the Lord has appointed his bounds that he cannot pass, right? You see, these Edomites will not continue the rulership over the world. They will lose grasp of power, little by little, and their mighty kings, their mighty men, will ultimately lose their ability to dominate over the nations, and it's all going to end up with them ultimately losing their entire grasp when the Lord comes back and just puts them out of power by destroying them. Okay, now all this that we've been seeing, that Joe Biden has been slipping up, obviously making these mental fog misjudgments, errors, right? He has started for the most part, a argument, right, with Vladimir Putin, right? They are obviously not friends. Okay, now that being said, Vladimir Putin has actually spoken back and actually replied back to the quips that Biden has said, right? Biden, in fact, has called Putin a killer, even though it's true. That's something that you don't do as a president, right? You don't. That's very uncouth, as they say. But let's go and watch this, and then I'm gonna actually read Vladimir Putin's response, since he's speaking in Russian and it's all in subtitles. But let's go and watch this.
You know Vladimir Putin. You think he's a killer?
Mm-hmm. I do.
I remember in my childhood when we argued in the country courtyard, we used to say, whatever you say about others is what you are yourself. And that's not a coincidence, not just a child's saying or joke. The psychological meaning is quite deep. We always see our own traits in other people and think he is the same as you. And as a result, we assess его действия и даем оценку вообще.
Что касается американского истеблишмента, не американского народа в целом, там главным образом очень много честных, порядочных, душевных людей, которые хотят жить с нами в мире и дружбе. Мы знаем об этом и дорожим этим, и будем на них опираться в будущем. Но что касается американского истеблишмента, то руководящего, правящего класса, то его сознание складывалось в известных и довольно непростых условиях. Ведь освоение европейцами американского континента было связано с истреблением местного населения, с геноцидом, как сегодня говорят, прямым геноцидом индийских племен. Затем последовал очень жесткий, большой, тяжелый период рабства, рабовладения, очень жестокий. И все это идет по истории, до сегодняшнего дня сопровождает жизнь Соединенных Штатов. Иначе откуда взялось движение Black Lives Matter? Жизни черных имеет значение. До сих пор афроамериканцы сталкиваются с несправедливостью и истреблением. Вот руководствуясь вот такими соображениями, правящий класс Соединенных Штатов решает и внутриполитические, и внешнеполитические проблемы. Ведь Соединенные Штаты единственная страна в мире, которая применила ядерное атомное оружие, причем против неядерного государства, против Японии в конце Второй мировой войны, против Хиросимы и Нагасаки. Никакого, абсолютно никакого военного смысла в этом не было. Это было прямое истребление гражданского населения. И почему об этом говорю? Мы что знаем, что Соединенные Штаты, руководство Соединенных Штатов в целом настроено иметь с нами определенные отношения, Но по тем вопросам, которые представляют интерес для самих Соединенных Штатов и на их условиях. Мы, хоть они думают, что мы такие же, как они, но мы другие люди. У нас другой генетический и культурно-нравственный код. Но мы умеем отстаивать свои собственные интересы. И мы будем с ними работать. Но в тех областях, в которых мы сами заинтересованы, и на тех условиях, которые мы считаем выгодными для себя. И им придется с этим считаться. Им придется с этим считаться, несмотря на все попытки остановить наше развитие. Несмотря на санкции, оскорбления. Им придется с этим считаться. Ну а мы, имея в виду наши национальные интересы, будем развивать отношения со всеми странами мира, включая и Соединенные Штаты.
So you see, for the most part, Putin pretty much called out America, right, for its hypocrisy, and also pretty much aired its dirty laundry to the entire world, right? Because though Putin may just be speaking to the Russian people, that message was intended to the American populace, right, and the entire world to see, right? And this is ultimately why that's going on, why Russia is being stirred up against America, right? Well, it's because this is Ezekiel 38:10. Thus saith Yahweh Bashim Ashai power, it shall come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought, right? And this is actually talking about the Russians, right? The Russians who the Lord will use to lead the march against America in this World War III event, which will go on, right? Let's continue. It says, and thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls, and having neither bars nor gates, right? And that right there is talking about how the Lord is going to put it into the mind of these Russians, Iranians, and other nations that will come with them, right? And put it into the mind that they should invade America, right? See, because America no longer is going to be the virgin daughter of which is what America is referred to, because it's never been invaded in the same ways as these other countries, right? It's been untouched, right? Hence the reference to it being a virgin, right? Verse 12, to take a spoil and to take a prey, to turn thine hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited, and upon the people that are gathered out of the nations, which have gotten cattle and goods, that dwell in the midst of the land. Right, and there you go. So you see, that is what is on the agenda for America, because the Lord has said it. Okay, this is the appointed end of America, right? The invasion of Babylon, which will ultimately lead to the beginning of World War III, and then the end with the second coming of the Messiah. And that's it, Akim. I just wanted to go ahead and cover this, just show you, what to be what to be expecting when the press conference happens later on today, right? I'm sure we're gonna get some surprises, right? But until then, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai, Bashem, Dash, the honors, my teachers, the apostles and elders, a great millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect. Shalom.